Hi, I'm Beverly Harzog, host of Your Personal Economy. You can't control what goes on in the world in terms of inflation or even the price of groceries, but you can control your own personal economy. And I'm going to show you just how to do that because the way you spend your money is the way you spend your life. And I want you to have the best life possible. Thanks for joining me for episode number 23, How to Build Credit Without a Credit Card. That's right, you do not need a credit card to build credit. Whether you're coming back from bad credit and you're not comfortable with credit cards, or maybe you can't even qualify for one, or if you're new to credit and you're not quite ready for credit cards, I'm going to show you just how to build credit without ever applying for a credit card. And some of these are really pretty easy. All right, let's get started. First, let's talk about the different types of credit, and then I'll explain how they each can help your credit score. All right, first you have revolving credit, and a credit card is a perfect example of that. With a credit card, you have a credit limit, okay, but you can use as much of that credit limit as you want. Ideally, of course, you want to pay that back in full every single month. And this is one reason why people don't want to get involved with credit cards. They're worried they may not be able to pay that balance in full, or maybe they're having trouble getting a credit card, or they don't really understand it, or they've decided they just don't want to use them. All of that is fine. Okay. I applaud you for knowing yourself. Okay. But that is what revolving credit is. Now, let's look at installment credit. And this is like a student loan, okay, a car loan, mortgage payments, okay? And this is where you have a fixed monthly amount that you pay every single month, okay, on time. You pay that on time and you can help build credit that way. Now, the third type is open credit. And this are bills that you pay every single month. It's like your cellular phone bill, utility bill, stuff like that, where you use a certain amount and then you pay it back. Now, you don't, in most cases, build credit with open accounts like that, but there are some exceptions, which I'm going to get to later on in this episode. But I do want you to know that if you don't pay these bills on time and you let it go long enough, it could actually end up on your credit report. Don't let that happen to you. Okay. I mean, it would be a shame to lose points off your credit score because you forgot to pay your cell phone bill for 3 months. Okay. That happened. So, one of the most important ways uh, developing credit without a credit card is to pay your bills on time. Okay. That is really the key. That's where everything starts from that. Okay. 35% of your FICO score is payment history. So, as long as you pay every single bill on time, whether it's a student loan payment, your mortgage, or that cellular phone bill, you're going to be able to build a solid foundation for a good credit score. Doesn't mean you'll have a great credit score, but you've got the foundation for it. Without that, you can't build a great credit score. All right, next, we're going to talk about how to use a car loan to build credit. You may not think that just having a car loan is going to help you build credit, but it will. All right, that's in the category of an installment loan. So you're paying a monthly amount every single month for that. And as long as you pay that on time, that's going to help you build your credit. And also, an installment loan contributes to a very small part of your FICO score called the mix of credit. And that's only 10%, but honestly, every little bit helps. So do a good job if you've got a car loan and make those payments on time, and you'll get some credit for payment history as well as for mix of credit. Now, another way to improve your credit without getting a credit card is a personal loan. And I'm certainly not suggesting that you go out and buy a car or get a personal loan just to build credit. But I'm just letting you know if these things happen in the course of your life, it could end up being a very good thing for your score. So let's say you decided to get a personal loan to pay off a medical bill, or perhaps you needed to do something to your home, like get a new roof, and you didn't have enough money in your emergency fund. So you do a personal loan. Same as with a car loan. All right, I want you to pay that bill, and it's just going to be a fixed amount every single month. Pay that on time. And again, that contributes to your payment history and it contributes to the mix of credit. Now, another type of installment loan that you may not have considered that important is your student loans. This is very important. I want you to focus on what you owe today. And I know there's a lot of talk about student loan forgiveness, a lot of activity going on in that area right now. But just assume right now that you have to pay exactly what's, on your balances right now when it comes to your student loans. Okay. This is another installment loan. It's going to help you in the same way, payment history, credit mix, and pay those bills on time. This is a chance to do something good with those student loans. I mean, hopefully you got a degree that also helped you get a great job. And if you've got loans to pay back, listen, I really do empathize with that. Yeah, it's really difficult for so many right now with student loans. But if you can, for now, just focus on paying that bill on time. And when it's appropriate, you can start looking into refinancing, that sort of thing. But for now, just focus on paying the bill on time and know that down the road, it's really helping you build your credit score. One of my favorite tools for building credit without a credit card is called a credit builder loan. Here's how that works. You apply for one of these loans by going to, say, a credit union or a community bank or a local bank or a bank that you use, perhaps, and just ask around. Do a little research online, and you should be able to find one. Now, there is an interest rate. They're usually quite low. Some of these lenders will also give you a little bit of interest earned on the amount that's deposited. So what happens is if you get approved, the lender will put the amount of the loan, and it's usually between $300 and $1,000. It's going to vary by lender, of course, into a savings account. And you will make payments towards that account. And when you pay off the amount in the account, you get that back. Now, like I said, you may have to pay a little interest on it. Some of them also will give you interest earned while the money is in the savings account. So be sure you're clear about the terms. Read it carefully, know if there's any fees, and ask questions. I think people are sometimes a little leery about asking questions. You don't want to sound like you're dumb, but listen, there are no dumb questions when it comes to money and personal finance, especially when it comes to credit. Okay. None of this is intuitive. So I want you to feel free to ask as many questions as you possibly can. In fact, you can ask me questions on my website, beverlyhardzog.com, and I'll even feature some of your questions on a podcast episode. So keep that in mind. All right. So if you want to get a credit builder loan, you have to apply for that. And they won't generally do a traditional credit check, although it's possible. But usually they'll check banking history, like through check systems, things like that. So if you bounce a lot of checks, you might have a little trouble getting this one. But try. You never know. The lender will report positive payment history. That's on time payments to the credit bureaus, all three of them. So you get to build a good payment history. And remember, payment history is 35% of your FICO score. That is a great way to build some credit. Another way is to try to get your rent reported to the credit bureaus. Now, this one's a little tricky, I admit, because most of the credit score algorithms are not going to include your rent payments in the calculation of the credit score. So why am I suggesting that you get it on your credit report? Because sometimes a lender will see that on your credit report and say, oh, okay, well, their score's not great, but they've got on-time payments for rent, like for the past year. So that gives them a little more favorable opinion of you and perhaps might think of you as less risky. So there is some positive sort of PR for yourself you can get from that. There are different services that provide this. One of them is called Rental Karma. Look that up and do some research on your own. These aren't free. Okay. And you can also check with your landlord and see if they report to any of these services or to the credit bureaus. All right. Coming up next, I've got another one for you that I'm going to talk about, a new tool that you may not be aware of. There's a tool called Experian Boost, and it comes from major credit bureau Experian. And here's how that works to improve your FICO score. You give Experian access to an account that you use to pay certain bills, such as your utility bill, even rent, which we just talked about, insurance, and streaming services such as Netflix. Imagine getting a FICO boost because you paid your Netflix bill on time. That's a winner. I like that. Okay, so you give them access, and as long as you pay it on time, this can show up on your credit report. And if a lender uses the Experian credit report and requests a score based on the info in your Experian report, then Experian Boost can be applied and it can maybe improve your credit score. Wouldn't that be great? And it's free, okay? Now, here's a caveat because if your lender uses a different major credit bureau, such as Equifax or TransUnion, then Experian Boost cannot be applied in that situation. But hey, you've got a 1 out of 3 chance here, and I think those odds are pretty good. And I urge you just to check into that tool. It might come in handy just when you need it the most. Thanks so much for joining me for episode number 23, How to Build Credit Without a Credit Card. We talked about a lot of different ways you can do that. And you don't have to pick just one. Sometimes doing a combination of these things will help you build that score up. All right, coming up next in episode number 24, I'm going to be talking about how to break bad money habits and replace them with good ones. I have been reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I have loved this book, and I have learned how to apply this to personal finance. So you don't want to miss that episode. I'll see you there.